Story 1 of 27. Angus Taylor's car theft and related political commentary during fuel crisis. Angus Taylor's car theft and related political commentary during fuel crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Angus Taylor's car was stolen on March 27 from an address in Canberra's inner south. The stolen car was located later that day in Turner, a North Canberra suburb. The vehicle was taken to an ACT policing facility for forensic examination. The theft occurred just hours before a planned press conference with Nationals leader Matt Canavan and Bridget McKenzie at a petrol station. ACT policing confirmed the theft via a statement to reporters. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau does not mention the 3-degree temperature or the shirt as theft excuse speculation, while SMH highlights it as a plausible explanation for Taylor's attire. SMH implies the car theft was likely due to an empty fuel tank, but News Kamau does not address this detail. SMH includes a humorous note about the car's fuel level deterring the thief, which is absent in News Kamau. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 2 of 27. Travel expenses and affordability of Albania compared to other European destinations. Travel expenses and affordability of Albania compared to other European destinations. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Albania is described as Europe's most affordable destination for summer travel by the author in both articles. The author spent €1,473, $2,601 over a week in Albania during peak summer season. The author visited Albania late last northern summer when $1 bought 55 cents and 54 Albanian lek, later 60 cents and 57 lek. The author rented a car for €325, $574 during the trip. The author consumed €290, $512 on meals and drinks over the week. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two articles as they are identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 3 of 27. NRL legend Nathan Merritt's cancer diagnosis and South Sydney's Legacy Bell appearance. NRL legend Nathan Merritt's cancer diagnosis and South Sydney's Legacy Bell appearance. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nathan Merritt has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the liver and esophagus and has been given about 12 months to live. Merritt will ring the Legacy Bell for South Sydney against the Bulldogs on Good Friday at Accor Stadium. Merritt scored 154 career tries, including 135 for South Sydney, SMH, 135, News Kamau, 146, corrected to 135 as per SMH's precise figure. Merritt has undergone 2 rounds of chemotherapy and will start a third at the end of next month. Merritt weighed 105 kilograms before diagnosis and has lost about 20 kilograms, now at 83 kilograms. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH reports Merritt scored 135 tries for South Sydney, while News Kamau states 146 tries. SMH's figure is precise and verified. SMH does not mention the club's call for fans to make it a nice day for him, only News Kamau attributes this quote to Bennett. News Kamau does not mention Merritt's dying wish to see Souths win the premiership, only SMH reports this. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 4 of 27. Sydney gym shooting investigation with 3 charged men. Sydney gym shooting investigation with 3 charged men. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A shooting occurred outside a gym on Steer Road, Gregory Hills, Sydney's southwest at 8:30 a.m. on December 5, 2025. 2 masked men fired 12 shots at a 48-year-old man outside the gym. He escaped uninjured. The shooters fled in a red Range Rover SUV with cloned number plates, later found abandoned in bushland near Macquarie Grove Road, Cobbitty. Police recovered clothing, masks, cloned number plates, and 2 pistols from the bushland near the ditched car. A 40-year-old man was charged with shooting with intent to murder and knowingly directing a criminal group, arrested in Parramatta. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau does not mention the alleged target's name, Stephen Halabai, as reported by ABC. ABC states the 32-year-old was charged with contribute criminal activity which is not listed in any WSCMAU's charges. News Kamau does not specify the 38-year-old's court date beyond Wednesday, while ABC omits the exact date for the 38-year-old's hearing. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 5 of 27. Donald Trump criticizes Australia and allies over Iran Strait of Hormuz dispute and military support. Donald Trump criticizes Australia and allies over Iran Strait of Hormuz dispute and military support. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump publicly criticized Australia, Japan, and South Korea for not providing military assistance during the Iran conflict, specifically mentioning their refusal to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz during a White House press conference, Articles 2, 3. Trump stated Japan didn't help us, Australia didn't help us, South Korea didn't help us in response to questions about NATO's role, Articles 2, 3. Australia has denied receiving any direct request from the US for military assistance to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, Articles 2, 4. Trump threatened military action against Iran, including targeting electricity, water, and energy plants by April 8, 2024, Articles 2, 3. The Strait of Hormuz carries about one-third of the world's oil supply, Articles 2, 4. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 2 claims Trump said NATO didn't help us during a White House press conference, while Article 3 does not mention NATO in his remarks. Article 2 states Trump gave Iran until April 8 to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but Article 3 does not specify a deadline. Article 2 reports Trump's expletive-laden post on Truth Social as open the F****************************** End Strait, you crazy bee ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** well, just what? While Article 4 does not include this exact phrasing but paraphrases it differently. This story was covered by The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 6 of 27. WNBA expansion draft selects 3 Australian players for new teams Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo. WNBA expansion draft selects 3 Australian players for new teams Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nyadu Puok was selected by the Portland Fire in the WNBA expansion draft as the 16th overall pick. Chloe Bibby was selected by the Portland Fire as the 11th overall pick in the expansion draft. Christy Wallace was selected by the Toronto Tempo as the 21st overall pick, ABC, 23rd, but Guardian says 23rd is Brondello's pick, corrected to 21st per ABC's Wallace's pick. Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo are the 14th and 15th WNBA teams respectively. The WNBA season begins on May 8, 2024, after the draft on April 13. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian says Christy Wallace was selected as the 23rd overall pick by Toronto Tempo, but ABC states she was the 21st overall pick. The Guardian mentions Julie Alamand was selected by Toronto Tempo with its first pick, but ABC does not mention this selection. The Guardian states the salary cap increase is $7 million, 10 million Australian dollars, from $1.5 million, 2.1 million Australian dollars, while ABC uses $7 million US dollars, 1.5 million US dollars, without Australian dollar conversion. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 7 of 27. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy-wren with extinction within decades. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy-wren with extinction within decades. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The superb fairy-wren was voted Australia's favourite bird in 2013 and 2021 Guardian BirdLife Australia polls. Researchers predict the superb fairy-wren population at Canberra's Australian National Botanic Gardens could go extinct within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high carbon emission scenarios, 2059 to 2062. The study found population extinction risk is highest due to low breeding success during dry springs and reduced adult survival from unusually warm winters and hot summers. The research was conducted by Australian National University, James Cook University, and Hainan University in China, with long-term data from nearly 30 years of weekly observations. The superb fairy-wren is a common species, not rare, but climate change impacts are accelerating its decline. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions the study was conducted with Hainan University in China, but ABC does not reference this collaboration. The Guardian states the extinction risk is very fast, within the next 30 to 40 years in intermediate and very high emission scenarios, while ABC specifies 2059 to 2062 for extinction under those scenarios. The Guardian implies the study's data may not apply broadly to other species due to lack of detailed observations, but ABC suggests the Botanic Gardens' findings could indicate broader risks. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 8 of 27. Kieran Foran's NRL coaching debut as Manly Sea Eagles interim head coach ahead of Dolphins match. Kieran Foran's NRL coaching debut as Manly Sea Eagles interim head coach ahead of Dolphins match. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kieran Foran is the new interim head coach of the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, replacing Anthony Seibold, who was sacked on Friday the 29th of March, 2024. Foran's first match as head coach is against the Brisbane Dolphins at Dolphin Stadium in Redcliffe on Thursday the 4th of April, 2024. The Sea Eagles are winless entering this match, with Foran inheriting a struggling team. Foran is 35 years old and holds the record for the fastest transition from NRL player to head coach in the 21st century, less than 6 months. Foran played his last NRL game in 2023 and won the Pacific Cup with New Zealand in his final professional match, 351st game. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 describes Foran's appointment as a baptism of fire and a fastest shift from NRL player to head coach this century, while Article 2 attributes this claim to Craig Young in 1979, not explicitly stated in Article 1. Article 1 does not mention Matt Bolin or Brad Arthur as potential candidates for the full-time role, while Article 2 lists them as frontrunners. Article 1 does not reference Des Hasler's outreach to Foran for support, which is mentioned in Article 2. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 9 of 27. Trump appoints J.D. Vance as fraud czar targeting Democratic states with fraud crackdowns. Trump appoints J.D. Vance as fraud czar targeting Democratic states with fraud crackdowns. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump appointed J.D. Vance as his fraud czar to lead a crackdown on alleged fraud in Democratic states, announced on the 4th of April, 2024. Federal officials announced 8 arrests in California on the 4th of April, 2024 for over $50 million in Medicare healthcare fraud tied to sham hospice care facilities. The accused in California included healthcare professionals such as nurses and a psychologist, allegedly using non-terminal patients in fraudulent hospice schemes. The U.S. Department of Justice's Operation Never Say Die targeted Southern California for healthcare fraud, with O'Keil Davis, FBI Assistant Director, calling it a high-risk environment. Trump previously froze $250 million in Medicaid funds to Minnesota in February 2024, alleging fraud, though Minnesota Governor Tim Walz denied the claims. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Trump claims fraud in Democratic states could balance the American budget without evidence, while California Governor Gavin Newsom states California has taken action against fraud, banning new hospice licenses, revoking 280 licenses, and pursuing 100-plus criminal cases, and accuses Trump of blaming the state for federal program issues. Trump alleges Minnesota is a free-for-all with fraud, but Governor Tim Walz denies fraud claims and accuses Trump's DOJ of shooting protesters and arresting children during raids. Trump claims healthcare fraud in California is rife, but Mehmet Ounce, CMS administrator, states the review of California hospices is a response to their federal programs and not a direct state-level issue. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 10 of 27. Film adaptation of Albert Camus' L'Étranger by François Ozon and its cultural relevance. Film adaptation of Albert Camus' L'Étranger by François Ozon and its cultural relevance. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The film is titled The Stranger and is a monochrome adaptation of Albert Camus' novella L'Étranger. François Ozon directed the film adaptation of L'Étranger. The film was filmed in Morocco, set in 1940s French Algeria. Benjamin Voisin stars as Musault, the protagonist. The film's release date in the UK is the 10th of April. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 describes Musault's shooting of the Algerian man as not a gratuitous act, but a racist act, while Article 2 describes it as hard-edged in his nonconformism, coming across at times like a sociopathic, colonial-era Patrick Bateman without explicitly calling it racist. Article 1 states that the film softens Camus' original bigotry by naming the victim and including dialogue about racial injustice, while Article 2 argues the film moralizes the story, detracting from its existential roots. Article 1 suggests the film retains Musault's brutal, heartless power despite its contemporary perspective, whereas Article 2 claims the film feels like a farewell tour for existentialism and lacks contemporary relevance. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 11 of 27. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time transition in April. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time transition in April. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daylight saving time ends in Australia on April 5, 2026, at 3 a.m. local time. Clocks move back by 1 hour during the transition, from AEDT to AEST. The Northern Territory, Queensland, and Western Australia do not observe daylight saving time. The end of daylight saving occurs in preparation for winter in Australia. The time change affects states that currently observe daylight saving, e.g., New South Wales, Victoria. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC specifies the return of daylight saving on October 4, 2026, but The Guardian does not mention this date. ABC provides a precise timing, tomorrow at 3 a.m., while The Guardian articles lack this detail. ABC lists specific states, NSW, Victoria, ACT, Tasmania, observing DST, but The Guardian does not name them. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 12 of 27. US President Trump's threats to destroy Iran's civilian infrastructure by a 8 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday deadline. US President Trump's threats to destroy Iran's civilian infrastructure by a 8 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday deadline. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump set a deadline of 8 p.m. Tuesday, Washington time, 10 a.m. Wednesday AEST for Iran to agree to a deal or face destruction of its civilian infrastructure, including bridges and power plants. Iran rejected a 45-day ceasefire proposal mediated by Egyptian, Pakistani, and Turkish officials, with Iranian diplomat Mujtaba Firdausi-Pour stating Iran only accepts an end to war with guarantees it won't be attacked again. US and Israeli forces conducted strikes on Iran's Karg Island, a key oil export hub in the Strait of Hormuz, targeting military sites, with reports of explosions and damage to infrastructure. Iran's state media reported strikes on railway and road bridges, an airport, and a petrochemical plant in Iran, with Israel claiming to have hit 8 bridges and 3 airports in Tehran. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif proposed a 2-week ceasefire with Iran opening the Strait of Hormuz as a goodwill gesture, and Iran was reportedly positively reviewing the proposal. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reported Trump explicitly stated he would target civilian infrastructure, bridges, power plants, as a war crime, while The Guardian quoted Trump saying he was not at all worried about committing war crimes and dismissed nuclear weapons as the real war crime. ABC and Newscom.au emphasized Trump's threats to destroy civilian infrastructure, But The Guardian and The Age focused more on Trump's framing of the strikes as military targets and his dismissal of war crime concerns. ABC reported that U.S. strikes on Karg Island targeted oil facilities, while CNN and The New York Times, cited in newscom.au, stated the strikes were against military targets only. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 13 of 27. Citrini research firm's first-hand report on Strait of Hormuz shipping activity and Iran's tollway system. Citrini research firm's first-hand report on Strait of Hormuz shipping activity and Iran's tollway system. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Citrini sent an analyst, codenamed Analyst Number 3, to the Strait of Hormuz on April 2, 2024, aboard a speedboat to observe shipping activity firsthand. The analyst reported 14 ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz on April 2, up from no more than 4 ships per day during the previous 2 weeks. Dynacom Tankers, owned by Greek billionaire George Prokopia, has sent multiple vessels through the strait since the conflict began, including a Greek tanker observed by Citrini analyst. The analyst observed ships from China, India, Malaysia, Japan, Greece, France, Oman, and Turkey passing through the strait. Citrini claims its analyst was intercepted by the Omani Coast Guard, detained, and had their phone confiscated before being released. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 14 of 27. 9 men arrested for alleged large-scale cocaine and meth trafficking via Bass Strait using trawlers and mothership. 9 men arrested for alleged large-scale cocaine and meth trafficking via Bass Strait using trawlers and mothership. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 9 men aged between 31 and 72 were arrested across Victoria and Sydney over alleged drug trafficking. 8 arrests occurred in Victoria, Morwell, Glenroy, Cranbourne, Cranbourne West, Cranbourne South, Greenvale, and 1 in Sydney, St Clair. The investigation, Operation Bruce Cremorne, involved Australian Federal Police, Victoria Police, and Australian Border Force over 10 months. The syndicate allegedly planned to smuggle up to 3.5 tons of cocaine via Bass Strait using a mothership and smaller vessels. Police became suspicious after a commercial trawler sank off Victoria's coast in May 2023 with 4 crew members needing rescue. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions 7 men face life imprisonment, while the ABC does not specify the exact number of men facing life sentences, only states 7 face potential life sentences. The Guardian reports the trawler sank off Victoria's coast in unspecified bad weather, while the ABC specifies it sank at Port Albert in May 2023. The Guardian states the syndicate allegedly tried to receive significant quantities of drugs, while the ABC specifies up to 3.5 tons of cocaine. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 15 of 27. Tiger Woods DUI arrest and bodycam footage release after Florida SUV crash. Tiger Woods DUI arrest and bodycam footage release after Florida SUV crash. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI in Martin County, Florida, on March 27 after crashing his Land Rover SUV and rolling it onto its side on Jupiter Island. Deputy Tatiana Levener told Woods, "I do believe your normal faculties are impaired, and you're under an unknown substance, so at this time you're under arrest for DUI." Woods responded, "I'm being arrested," and Levener replied, "Yes, sir," in bodycam footage. Officers found 2 white pills in Woods's pocket, which he identified as Norco, hydrocodone, a prescription opioid. Woods admitted to taking a few medications earlier in the day but denied drinking alcohol. A breath test showed no alcohol. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions Woods was released on bail 8 hours after arrest, but ABC does not specify the exact time frame for release. The Guardian states Woods's case is due back in court on the 5th of May for a hearing, while ABC does not mention this date. The Guardian notes Woods appeared in the TGL Indoor League on March 26, but ABC does not reference this event. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 16 of 27. US imposes 100% tariff on imported pharmaceuticals, impacting Australian exports. US imposes 100% tariff on imported pharmaceuticals, impacting Australian exports. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump imposed a 100% tariff on patented pharmaceuticals imported into the US via executive order on October 2025, Washington time. Australia exports approximately $2 billion, or $1.3 to $1.9 billion depending on source, worth of drugs to the US annually, with CSL accounting for the bulk of these exports. CSL, headquartered in Melbourne, operates manufacturing facilities in the US, including a $1.5 to $2.2 billion expansion project in Illinois, Kankakee, set to complete by 2029 to 2031. The tariff applies to patented drugs but exempts generic medicines and plasma-derived therapies under specific conditions, e.g., meeting urgent US health needs or originating from countries with trade deals. Companies can reduce tariffs to 20% by relocating production to the US or to 0% by securing most favored nation drug pricing status for the US. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report CSL's US exports are worth $2 billion annually, while The Age and News.com.au cite $1.3–1.9 billion UN-Comtrade data. The Guardian states Trump's tariff exemptions include preferred pricing deals for US consumers, but The Age and ABC do not mention this specific condition for exemptions. The Age reports the tariff announcement was timed to mark 1 year since Liberation Day tariffs, while The Guardian and ABC do not emphasize this temporal connection. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, News.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 17 of 27. US journalist Shelley Kittleson's kidnapping and release in Iraq by Iranian-backed militia. US journalist Shelley Kittleson's kidnapping and release in Iraq by Iranian-backed militia. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Shelley Kittleson, a 49-year-old freelance journalist from Minnesota, was kidnapped in Baghdad on March 31 by men linked to the Iranian-backed group Kataib Hezbollah. Kittleson was seized from a street corner in Baghdad in broad daylight by 4 men in civilian clothes and taken in a vehicle. Iraqi authorities intercepted a vehicle, believed to belong to the kidnappers, that flipped over while fleeing, but Kittleson was not inside it. Kataib Hezbollah released Kittleson on April 7, 2024, after detaining her for a week, with a condition that she leave Iraq immediately. The US State Department warned Kittleson multiple times about threats in Iraq and advised all Americans to leave the country. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian Article 1 states Iraqi authorities arrested 1 suspect and seized a vehicle, but Newscomall and Guardian Article 3 imply the suspect was not the primary abductor. Kittleson was transferred to another car. Newscomall reports Kittleson was freed in exchange for detained Kataib Hezbollah members, while Guardian Article 3 does not mention this exchange explicitly. Guardian Article 1 does not confirm the exact date of release, only mentions as soon as possible, whereas Newscomall and Guardian Article 3 specify April 7, 2024. This story was covered by The Guardian and News.com.au. Story 18 of 27. Deontay Wilder defeats Derek Chisora in his final fight. Wilder calls out Anthony Joshua for a rematch. Deontay Wilder defeats Derek Chisora in his final fight. Wilder calls out Anthony Joshua for a rematch. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Deontay Wilder defeated Derek Chisora via split decision, 115-111, 112-115, 115-113, in London on Saturday, June 15, 2024, at the O2 Arena. Chisora, 36-14 with 23 knockouts, fought his 50th and final professional bout against Wilder, the 1st of April, 45-43 KOs. Chisora beat the count in the 8th round after Wilder knocked him down, then rallied to force Wilder to the ropes in the same round. Wilder was deducted a point in the 8th round for holding Chisora. Anthony Joshua attended the post-fight press conference and fist-bumped Wilder, with Wilder saying "let's do it" and calling out Joshua for a fight. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Wilder's record is the 1st of April, 45-43 KOs, while Article 2 does not mention Wilder's exact record or KO count. Article 1 describes Chisora's final fight as a split-decision victory for Wilder with scores 115-111, 112-115, 115-113, but Article 2 does not explicitly state the scores beyond confirming Wilder won by split decision. Article 1 notes Wilder lost the WBC title to Tyson Fury and Joshua lost his belts to Alexander Usyk, framing their unified bout as never materialized, while Article 2 does not reference their past titles or unfulfilled rivalry. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 19 of 27. Severe tropical cyclone Mela threatening far north Queensland weeks after cyclone Narelle. Severe tropical cyclone Mela threatening far north Queensland weeks after cyclone Narelle. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Severe tropical cyclone Mela is a Category 3 system as of April 7, with sustained winds of 130 to 150 km per hour and gusts up to 185 to 205 km per hour. Mela is located in the Solomon Sea, approximately 590 to 980 km east of Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, on April 7. The Bureau of Meteorology predicts Mela will likely cross Cape York Peninsula around Sunday, April 12, with potential intensification to Category 4. Cyclone Narelle made landfall in Cape York on March 20 as a Category 4 system and later crossed into the Northern Territory and Western Australia. The 2014 severe tropical cyclone Ita was the last April cyclone to cross Queensland's coast, near Cooktown. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Mela's sustained winds as 130 km per hour with gusts up to 185 km per hour, while ABC, Article 3, states 150 km per hour sustained and 205 km per hour gusts at 4 a.m. April 7. News Kamau says Mela could bring winds of 95 km per hour at the center and gusts up to 130 km per hour, while ABC, Article 2, reports gusts up to 295 km per hour. The Guardian mentions Mela may weaken to Category 3 after strengthening to Category 4, while ABC, Article 1, states it could cross the coast as Category 4 without specifying weakening afterward. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 20 of 27. Australian government's gambling advertising reforms and public reaction. Australian government's gambling advertising reforms and public reaction. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese announced gambling advertising reforms on April 4, 2026, during a National Press Club address. The reforms include capping TV gambling ads to 3 per hour between 6 a.m. and 8:30 p.m., with a full ban during live sport broadcasts in that period. Gambling ads will be banned on radio during school pickup and drop-off times, specifically 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Online gambling ads will be restricted to verified adults over 18 who are logged in, with an opt-out option for users. Celebrity and sports player appearances in gambling ads will be banned, along with odd-style ads targeting sports fans. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports the OIA estimates a full ad ban would reduce gambling expenditure by $109.5 million, 1.4%, but ABC states the Murphy Report's AGRC estimate was $109.5 million without specifying if it was a full or partial ban. The Guardian mentions the triple lock ban applies to podcasts and social media, while ABC and news.com.au do not explicitly confirm this extension beyond online platforms. ABC claims the reforms do not address pokie machines, which contribute to more than half of gambling harms, but this claim is not contradicted by other sources, only omitted. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 21 of 27. U.S. Supreme Court hearing on Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. U.S. Supreme Court hearing on Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump attended oral arguments at the U.S. Supreme Court on February 21, 2024, becoming the first sitting president to do so. The Supreme Court heard arguments over whether Trump's executive order could strip birthright citizenship from children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants or temporary residents. The 14th Amendment's citizenship clause, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, was adopted in 1868 and affirmed in United States v. Wong Kim Ark 1898. The Trump administration argues the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof excludes children of undocumented immigrants or those with temporary status, relying on a fringe conservative legal interpretation. The ACLU and 24 Democratic state attorneys general filed lawsuits challenging Trump's executive order, with a decision expected by June 2024. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the Trump administration's evidence was very quickie, Roberts, while Article 2 attributes this exact phrase only to Roberts's comment about the government's argument. No other source confirms its use in Article 1's phrasing. Article 1 implies the conservative justices' skepticism was balanced with liberal justices' clear opposition, while Article 2 frames the outcome as unclear with no majority apparent. Article 1 does not mention Sauer's claim that unrestricted birthright citizenship contradicts modern nations, though Article 2 includes this as a key argument. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 22 of 27. Fuel crisis impacts southern Queensland and national tourism during Easter long weekend. Fuel crisis impacts southern Queensland and national tourism during Easter long weekend. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Southern Queensland tourism operators report booking cancellations due to rising fuel prices, with some losing thousands. ABC Article 1, Paradise Resort, Noosa Quad Bike Tours, Drop Bear Adventures. Fuel prices on K'gari, Fraser Island, reached $4.25 per litre, the highest in Queensland and among the priciest in Australia. ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. The federal government announced a cut to the fuel excise to help curb costs, welcomed by tourism operators like Darren Smith, Coastal Cruises Mooloolaba. ABC Article 1. Tourism businesses across southern Queensland report a drop in Easter bookings compared to average, with some citing a 10%, Paradise Resort, and 60%, Noosa Quad Bike Tours, decline. ABC Article 1. RACQ principal economic expert Dr. Ian Jeffries states fuel availability is not an issue, and supply contracts are being honoured. ABC Article 1. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC Article 1 states K'gari fuel prices are the highest in Queensland and among the priciest in Australia, but ABC Article 2 does not provide a direct comparison to other states or national prices. ABC Article 1 reports some tourism businesses, e.g., Paradise Resort, Noosa Quad Bike Tours, experiencing significant booking declines, while ABC Article 2 highlights others, e.g., Swinging Bridge, Byron Bay, with record or near-record visitation. ABC Article 1 mentions a 60% drop in bookings for Noosa Quad Bike Tours, but ABC Article 2 does not reference this specific business or percentage. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 23 of 27. 2 NSW teenagers arrested over alleged extremist material and terror probe in Moree. 2 NSW teenagers arrested over alleged extremist material and terror probe in Moree. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 2 teenagers aged 15 and 16 from Moree, NSW, were charged with extremist material offences. The investigation began in December 2024 after reports a teenager accessed extremist material online. On the 27th of March, 2024, police searched a home and seized a mobile phone, a ballistic-style vest, and notebooks. The 15-year-old was initially charged after the 27th of March search and later arrested again on the 28th of March. Both teens were refused bail and will appear in Parramatta Children's Court on the 29th of March, 2024. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the 15-year-old was charged at the time of the 27th of March search, but Newscom Australia implies the initial charge occurred after forensic analysis. The Guardian specifies the 15-year-old was arrested and charged on the 27th of March, then re-arrested on the 28th of March, while Newscom Australia does not mention the initial the 27th of March charge. The Guardian mentions the 15-year-old was charged with 2 offences, collecting documents and transmitting material, but Newscom Australia does not explicitly list both charges separately. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Story 24 of 27. Graham Arnold leads Iraq to historic 2026 World Cup qualification after 40-year drought. Graham Arnold leads Iraq to historic 2026 World Cup qualification after 40-year drought. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Graham Arnold coached Iraq to a 2-1 win over Bolivia in Mexico on May 2026, securing their first FIFA World Cup qualification since 1986. Iraq will compete in Group I of the 2026 World Cup alongside France, Norway, and Senegal, with the tournament starting June 11, 2026, co-hosted by the US, Canada, and Mexico. Ali Al-Hamidi scored Iraq's opening goal in the 10th minute, and Ayman Hussein scored the winner in the second half, 53rd minute. Graham Arnold was carried on the shoulders of his players after the match in Monterrey Stadium. Arnold took over as Iraq coach in May 2025, having previously resigned as Australia's Socceroos coach in September 2024. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions Iraq was the last country to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, but Article 2, ABC, states Iraq was the 9th team from Asia to qualify, implying others may have qualified after them. No contradictions in core facts between sources, all agree on match result, goals, and key details. This story was covered by ABC News and SBS News. Story 25 of 27. US President Trump's threats to Iran over Strait of Hormuz closure and military escalation during war. US President Trump's threats to Iran over Strait of Hormuz closure and military escalation during war. Here's what every outlet agrees on. US President Donald Trump issued a 48-hour deadline, ending Tuesday 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face attacks on power plants and bridges, posting expletive-laden threats on Truth Social, ABC, Newscom, Guardian, ABC Again. Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf responded to Trump's threats by warning that US actions would drag the United States into a living hell and burn the whole region, Guardian. US commandos successfully rescued a second downed US pilot, Colonel, from Iran after a 48-hour search, with Trump declaring "We got him" on social media. The pilot was reportedly injured, Newscom, Guardian, ABC. Iran's Revolutionary Guards confirmed the downed US F-15E fighter jet crash in Khuzestan province, southwest Iran, and offered a $63,000 to $91,000 bounty for the capture of the missing US pilots, Newscom, ABC. US-Israeli strikes hit an area near Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant on Saturday, prompting Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to warn of radiological risks. The IAEA reported a staff member was killed and a building damaged, ABC, Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscom report Trump's 48-hour deadline ends at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, but NEWSONews headline suggests Trump's original deadline was Monday, not confirmed in other sources. ABC reports Iranian state media confirmed 5 people were killed at a petrochemical complex in Mahaha, while Guardian does not specify the exact number of casualties in Mahaha. Newscom reports the CIA launched a deception campaign to confuse Iranian forces, while ABC and Guardian do not detail this specific disinformation tactic. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 26 of 27. Victorian government expands device ban in schools to include smartwatches, headphones, and all school types. Victorian government expands device ban in schools to include smartwatches, headphones, and all school types. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Premier Jacinta Allen announced sweeping new device restrictions in Victorian schools on Wednesday, making Victoria the first state to introduce such rules across all school types. Mobile phones have been banned in Victorian public schools since 2020, with the policy credited by Education Minister Ben Carroll with reducing classroom distractions and improving focus, socialisation, and behaviour. The new policy will ban smartwatches with notifications, recording functions, or internet connectivity, as well as personal audio devices like headphones, effective January 27, 2027. Exceptions will apply for students using devices to monitor health conditions. Independent Schools Victoria CEO Rachel Holthouse and Victorian Catholic Education Authority CEO Elizabeth Labwan both welcomed the expanded device ban as supportive of student well-being and positive learning environments. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the ban on devices in government schools was improving student distraction rates by 20%, but ABC and Thij do not provide a specific percentage for this claim. ABC reports that parent views on the ban are mixed, with some concerned about how broad the ban goes and shifting responsibility onto schools, while News Kamau and Thij do not mention this specific concern. Thij reports that Caroline Chisholm Catholic College saw a 20% increase in students believing rules were enforced fairly, but this specific statistic is not mentioned in News Kamau or ABC. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, and The Age. Story 27 of 27. Australian government's fuel excise cuts and their impact on petrol-diesel prices amid Middle East conflict. Australian government's fuel excise cuts and their impact on petrol-diesel prices amid Middle East conflict. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The federal government halved the fuel excise on petrol and diesel by 26.3 cents per litre on March 28, 2025, effective midnight Wednesday. Average unleaded petrol prices across Australia dropped by 16 to 21.2 cents per litre on the first day of the excise cut, with Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth averaging between 232 to 245 cents per litre, pre-cut, $250, 260 cents. Diesel prices fell by 21.3 cents on average nationally, with Adelaide recording the largest drop, 21.3 cents, and prices sitting at $311.1 cents per litre post-cut. The excise cut was announced to reduce the 52.6 cent per litre tax to 26.3 cents for 3 months, until June 30, 2025. State and territory leaders agreed to return an additional 5.7 cents per litre via GST revenue, bringing the total excise cut to 32 cents per litre by April 4, 2025. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report rapid price drops, 16 to 21.2 cents, on the first day, but news.com.au's on-the-ground visit found business as usual with minimal price changes at Sydney stations. The Guardian states Adelaide's unleaded drop was 24.9 cents, almost equal to the full excise cut, while news.com.au reports Adelaide's unleaded drop was 29 cents, larger than the excise cut itself. ABC warns it could take 1 to 2 weeks for full savings to flow through, while The Guardian and news.com.au report retailers passed on savings almost immediately. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au.